Hello students, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I am going to give you a brief lecture on anaerobic respiration. So, anaerobic respiration involves breakdown of glucose without involvement of oxygen, but it also releases energy. So it occurs without involvement of oxygen. That's why it is called as anaerobic respiration. So it involves incomplete oxidation of glucose. There glucose converts into ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. So let's see the equation of anaerobic respiration. C6H12O6 glucose undergoes incomplete oxidation. There it converts into ethyl alcohol plus CO2 is released. 2CO2 plus 56 kilocalories energy is released in this process. So this is the anaerobic respiration equation. So there is no involvement of oxygen, but it is incompletely oxidized to ethyl alcohol and CO2. So but in the case of aerobic respiration, glucose undergoes complete oxidation. There the glucose completely oxidized to CO2. Okay, this kind of respiration occurs in yeast and certain bacteria. Okay, it occurs in yeast and certain bacteria. So the organisms which are performing anaerobic respiration are termed as anaerobes. The organisms which are performing anaerobic respiration are called as anaerobes. So anaerobes are of two types. First one is obligate anaerobes. Second one is facultative anaerobes. So let's see one by one. So obligate anaerobes, they cannot survive in presence of oxygen. They cannot survive in presence of oxygen. Example, Clostridium, botulinum. Facultative means they can tolerate aerobic conditions. Example, yeast. Okay students, let's see the mechanism of aerobic respiration. The production of ethyl alcohol and CO2 from hexose sugars was reported by the scientist Gay-Lussac. So mechanism of aerobic respiration involves two steps. First one is glycolysis. Second one is fermentation. So glycolysis is common step for aerobic respiration as well as anaerobic respiration. So let's see the complete reaction of anaerobic respiration. So in the first step, hexose sugar, nothing but glucose, 6 carbon compound which undergoes glycolysis. This step is called as glycolysis, nothing but splitting of sugar molecule into two pyruvic acids. Two pyruvic acid molecules, which is a 3 carbon compound. Okay. So in the next step, this pyruvic acid undergoes decarboxylation results in the formation of acetaldehyde. So which is a 2-carbon compound. In the next step, it undergoes reduction, results in the formation of ethyl alcohol. Which is also a 2-carbon compound. Okay, so these two steps are nothing but fermentation. These two steps comes under fermentation. So let's see the glycolysis and fermentation in detail. Glycolysis is the first step of anaerobic respiration. So it is common step for aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. So in this step, hexose sugar converts into pyruvic acid. Glucose converts into pyruvic acid. Okay. So here 2 direct ATP are released and also 2 NADH plus H plus are produced. Okay. So it occurs in the cytoplasm. If you want detailed lecture on glycolysis, you can go through the aerobic respiration. Okay. So let's see the fermentation in detail. So this is the most ancient type of metabolism for obtaining energy from nutrient molecules. So here the microorganisms, they degrades the food to obtain energy. So fermentation is a process by which microorganisms like yeast and certain bacteria, they degrades organic substances anaerobically. That means without oxygen. Okay, they obtain energy from organic substances. They degrades the organic substances in absence of oxygen. So that is called fermentation. So yeast and bacteria, they break down sugars anaerobically to get energy. Okay. So there are two main types of fermentations. So first one is alcohol fermentation. Second one is lactic acid fermentation. So let's see one by one. So let's see the first one, alcoholic fermentation. So fermentation also a cytosolic process. It starts with a pyruvic acid that is produced due to the result of glycolysis. So in glycolysis, glucose splits into 2 pyruvic acids. So that pyruvic acid is the initial substance for the fermentation. So alcoholic fermentation involves 2 steps. First one is decarboxylation. So in the first step, 2 pyruvic acid molecules they undergoes decarboxylation in presence of an enzyme pyruvic decarboxylase. Results in the formation of acetaldehyde. 2 molecules of acetaldehyde, which is a 2-carbon compound. 2 CO2 are given out. Okay. So if you see the chemical equation for this, CH3 C double bond O COOH. It is a pyruvic acid. It undergoes decarboxylation in presence of an enzyme pyruvic decarboxylase. So 2 pyruvic acids undergoes decarboxylation. So in this way 2 carbon dioxide molecules are given out. So it is results in the formation of 2CH3CHO, acetaldehyde. So 2CO2 are given out. So this is the first step, that is decarboxylation. So pyruvic acid undergoes decarboxylation in presence of an enzyme. Pyruvic decarboxylase results in the formation of two acetaldehyde molecules. Okay. So let's see the second step. So let's see the second step, nothing but reduction. So in reduction, so acetaldehyde undergoes reduction reaction. For this, the hydrogens are supplied by 2 NADH plus H plus. They are produced in the glycolysis. This supplies hydrogens for the acetaldehyde. So it results in the formation of ethyl alcohol. So for this, hydrogens are supplied by 2 NADH plus H plus. Those are released in the glycolysis. So 2CH3CHO plus 2 NADH plus H plus gives rise to C2H5OH. It occurs in presence of an enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase. So in presence of an enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase, acetaldehyde undergoes reduction reaction, results in the formation of ethyl alcohol. So that is the second step. So let's see the energetics of anaerobic respiration. So in this anaerobic respiration, 2 ATPs are directly produced through the glycolysis. So they are produced only through the glycolysis. So this is the energetics of anaerobic respiration. So let's see the second type of fermentation, that is lactic acid fermentation. So this is also anaerobic process. Here the hexose sugar is converts into lactic acid. It is also occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. So this type of fermentation occurs in muscle cells. So when you do a hard exercise, your muscles require a lot of energy. So sometimes your body not getting enough oxygen to perform aerobic respiration. In those conditions, our muscles, they tend to do anaerobic respiration, results in the formation of energy release. That energy will be utilized by the body. So here glucose converts into lactic acid, but small amount of energy is released in this process. So that's why after intense exercise your muscles feel tired. Why? Because due to the accumulation of lactic acid, your muscles, they get tired. So lactic acid fermentation is also performed by bacteria. Example, lactobacillus. They performs anaerobic respiration. There the glucose converts into lactic acid. So this kind of fermentation also starts with pyruvic acid, which is an end product of glycolysis. There the pyruvic acid undergoes reduction reaction. For the reduction reaction, NADH plus H plus produced in the glycolysis, they supplies reducing power. Then in this way hexose sugar undergoes reduction reaction. There it converts into lactic acid. So let's see the equation. CH3 C double bond O COOH, which is a pyruvic acid. So that is the end product of glycolysis. So it undergoes reduction. So NADH plus H plus utilized in this reaction. They are the products of glycolysis. Okay. So results in the formation of lactic acid. So lactic acid. 2-pyruvic acid undergoes reduction reaction in presence of an enzyme lactic dehydrogenase. Okay, so this is the fermentation reaction of lactic acid, students. So here pyruvic acid undergoes reduction reaction in presence of an enzyme lactic dehydrogenase, results in the formation of lactic acid. Actually this process occurs in our muscle cells also. When performing exercise, if the muscle cells they do not get enough oxygen, so they tend to do another respiration, that is nothing but anaerobic respiration. Without oxygen they can perform anaerobic respiration. So then the lactic acid is accumulated in our muscle cells. That's why we get tired while doing the exercise. So in this process, NAD plus is regenerated for the continuity of glycolysis. So here also the energetics is nothing but 2 ATP. They are directly produced by the glycolysis. So this lactic acid fermentation has industrial use. So lactic acid bacteria are used in the food fermentation techniques. Example, yogurt, while making yogurt, curd. So that occurs with the help of anaerobic respiration only. So let's see the differences between aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. So let's see the differences one by one. So aerobic respiration is common in all living organisms. So whereas anaerobic respiration is rare and is common in yeast and certain bacteria. So let's see the second difference. It occurs in presence of oxygen. It occurs in the absence of oxygen. So in this, carbohydrates are completely oxidized to CO2 and H2O. Here, the carbohydrates are partially oxidized to C2H5OH plus CO2. So let's see the equation for aerobic respiration. C6H12O6 plus 6O2 gives rise to 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O plus energy. 686 kilocalories energy is released. So for this C6H12O6 2C2H5OH plus 2CO2 and 56 kilocalories energy is released. 56 kilocalories energy is released in the anaerobic respiration. So here, after complete oxidation, more energy is released. 36 ATP. So this is the net ATP. So grass is 38, net ATP is 36 produced by the oxidation of one glucose molecule. So here very little energy, that is nothing but 2 ATP are released in the glycolysis. So here end products are CO2 plus H2O. So end products are ethyl alcohol plus or lactic acid. So it involves 4 steps. Aerobic respiration involves 4 steps. Glycolysis, oxidative decarboxylation of pyruvate, Krebs cycle, and finally electron transport chain. So only glycolysis occurs in the cytoplasm. Remaining all occurs in mitochondria. So whereas anaerobic respiration involves 2 steps, they are glycolysis. Second one is fermentation. Both the steps occurs in cytoplasm. Okay students, so these are the differences between aerobic and anaerobic respirations. Thanks for watching.